Hi everyone. I hope you're all doing well. I am going to read one of my favorite stories from one of my favorite authors and illustrators. It's called Strega Nona by Tomie dePaola, and I think some of you know this story. Strega Nona, there she is. In a town in Calabria a long time ago, there lived an old lady everyone called Strega Nona, which meant Grandma Witch. Although all the people in town talked about her in whispers, they all went to see her if they had troubles. Even the priest and the sisters of the convent went, because Strega Nona did have a magic touch. She could cure a headache with oil and water and a hairpin. She even made special potions for girls who wanted husbands. And she was very good at getting rid of warts. But Strega Nona was getting old, and she needed someone to help her keep her little house and garden. So she put up a sign in the town square. And Big Anthony, who didn't pay much attention, went to see her. "Anthony," said Strega Nona, "you must sweep the house and wash the dishes. You must weed the garden and pick the vegetables. You must feed the goat and milk her, and you must fetch the water. For this, I will give you 3 coins and a place to sleep and food to eat." "Oh, grazie," said Big Anthony. "But one thing you must never do," said Strega Nona, "is touch the pasta pot. It's very valuable, and I don't let anyone touch it." "Oh, see," said Big Anthony. So they're making a deal. And so the days went by. Big Anthony did his work, and Strega Nona met with the people who came to see her for headaches and husbands and warts. One evening, when Big Anthony was milking the goat, he heard Strega Nona singing. Peeking in the window, he saw Strega Nona standing over the pasta pot. She sang. There she is. "Bubble, bubble, pasta pot. Boil me some pasta nice and hot. I'm hungry and it's time to sup. Boil enough pasta to fill me up." And the pasta pot bubbled and boiled and was suddenly filled with steaming hot pasta. Then Strega Nona sang, "Enough, enough, pasta pot. I have my pasta nice and hot. So simmer down my pot of clay until I'm hungry another day." "How wonderful," said Big Anthony. "That's a magic pot for sure." See, he's peeking in the door. Oh, Big Anthony. And Strega Nona called Big Anthony in for supper. But too bad for Big Anthony, because he didn't get to see Strega Nona blow 3 kisses into the magic pasta pot. 3. He missed that part. That's going to be important. And here's what happened. The next day, when Big Anthony went to the town square to fetch the water, he told everyone about the pasta pot. And naturally, everyone laughed at him because it sounded so silly, a pot that cooked by itself. "You'd better go and confess to the priest, Big Anthony," they said. "Such a lie." And Big Anthony was angry, and it wasn't a very good thing to be. "I'll show them," he said to himself. "Someday I'll get that pasta pot and make it cook, and then they'll be sorry." The day came sooner than even Big Anthony would have thought, because 2 days later, Strega Nona said to Anthony, "Anthony, I must go over the mountain to the next town to see my friend Strega Amelia. Sweep of the house and weed of the garden, feed of the goat and milk her, and for your lunch there is some bread and cheese in the cupboard. And remember, don't touch the pasta pot." "Oh, yes, yes, Strega Nona," said Big Anthony. But inside he was thinking, my chance has come. As soon as Strega Nona was out of sight, Big Anthony went inside and pulled the pasta pot off the shelf and put it on the floor. "Now let's see if I can remember the words," said Big Anthony. "Bubble, bubble, pasta pot. Boil me some pasta nice and hot. I'm hungry and it's time to sup. Boil me enough pasta to fill me up." And sure enough, the pot boiled and bubbled and began to fill with pasta. "Aha," said Big Anthony, and he ran to the town square, jumped on the fountain, and shouted, "Everyone, get forks and plates and platters and bowls. Pasta for all at Strega Nona's. Big Anthony has made the magic pasta pot work." Of course, everyone laughed, but they ran home to get forks and plates and platters and bowls, and sure enough, when they got to Strega Nona's, the pasta pot was so full, it was beginning to overflow. But Big Anthony was a hero. He scooped out pasta and filled the plates and platters and bowls. There was more than enough for all the townspeople, including the priest and the sisters of the convent. And some people came back for 2 and 3 helpings, but the pot was never empty. When all had their fill, Big Anthony sang, "Enough, enough, my pasta pot. I have my pasta nice and hot, so simmer down my pot of clay until I'm hungry another day." But alas, he did not blow 3 kisses. He went outside, and to the applause of the crowd, Big Anthony took a bow. He was so busy listening to compliments from everyone that he didn't notice the pasta pot was still bubbling and boiling until his sister from the convent said, "Oh, Big Anthony, look!" And the pasta was pouring out of the pot all over the floor of Strega Nona's house, and it was coming out the door. Big Anthony rushed in and shouted the magic words again, but the pot kept bubbling. He took the pot off the floor, but the pasta kept pouring from it. Big Anthony grabbed a cover to put on the pot, and he sat on it. But the pasta raised the cover, and Big Anthony as well, and spilled on the floor of Strega Nona's house. "Stop!" yelled Big Anthony. But the pasta did not stop. And if someone hadn't grabbed poor Big Anthony, the pasta would have covered him up. The pasta had all but filled the little house. Out of the windows and through the doors came the pasta, and the pot kept right on bubbling. The townspeople began to worry. "Do something, Big Anthony," they shouted. Big Anthony sang the magic song again, but without the 3 kisses, it did no good. By this time, the pasta was on its way down the road, and all the people were running to keep ahead of it. "We must protect our town from the pasta," shouted the mayor. "Get the mattresses, tables, doors, anything to make a barricade." But even that didn't work. The pot kept bubbling, and the pasta kept coming. Yeah, coming down the hill. "We're lost," said the people, and the priest and the sisters of the convent began praying. "The pasta will cover our town," they cried. And it certainly would have, had Strega Nona not come down the road, home from her visit. She didn't look twice. She didn't have to look twice to know what had happened. See, here she is. She sang the magic song and blew the 3 kisses, and with a sputter, the pot stopped boiling and the pasta came to a halt. "Oh, grazie, thank you, Strega Nona," the people cried. But then they turned on poor Big Anthony. "String him up," the men of the town shouted. "Now wait," said Strega Nona. "The punishment must fit to the crime." And she took a fork from a lady standing nearby, and she held it out to Big Anthony. "All right, Anthony, you want the pasta from my magic pasta pot," said Strega Nona. "And I want to sleep in my little bed tonight. So start eating. And he did. Poor big Anthony. And there they are. Strega Nona is asleep in her bed, and I think he has a full belly.